Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a great week. This is the fifth lesson and the last one for our week, and today we're going to continue with the Cambridge Checkpoint book. Prepare yourselves and let's start. Let's know what our objectives are for today. Our lesson is going to be shorter than usual. We have spelling words as every weekend. After that, we would have apostrophe of possession and writing an adventure quest story. And we would finish the lesson with solving some exercises from your workbook. For spelling, as usual, we're going to know how the words are written in addition to their meaning. So, we're going to pronounce each word and give its meaning. First, we're going to start with something which is really easy and basic. It is stationery. A stationery is something used by you, by students usually. So they are the pens, pencils, rulers, rubbers, all these parts that help you, or all these things that help you with writing and doing your things in school. Then you have the word essentials. Essentials are the necessary things for you. Then you have the word aisles. It's not isles, the S is silent, so it's aisles. Aisles are the passages between rows of seats in buildings like theaters, airplanes, trains, churches. Whenever you find the space or the passage between the rows of seats, that's aisles. Then you have the word persuade. Persuade is a verb and it means convince. Then you have the word reinforcement. It can give many synonyms. It basically means when you make yourself stronger. So enhancement also can be used as reinforcement. After that, we have three adverbs, starting with miraculously. Miraculously. This word means that something happened with a miracle. Something is unnatural. Then you have mysteriously. Mysteriously means something happened, let's say, not in a clear way, something puzzling. Then you have specifically, which means particularly. You have another word which is precautions. We already had the word caution, and now we have precaution, which means when you are careful from the beginning before something serious or dangerous happens later. Then we have the word conspiracy. It's a plot or intrigue. A scenario is a very common thing. It is the outline of plays, of novels, stories. Then you have the word fortunate, simply lucky. Old-fashioned is something out to date or something not from this time. Finally, you have the word establish, which means set up or create something. Before we start explaining apostrophe of possession, here we have a very important exercise. It is related to the text that we read yesterday. So we will try to put commas in the right places, and I already solved that for you. The commas in red are the right solutions. So why is that important? Because we've studied so many types of commas, like the ones that separate items in a list, like the ones that show additional information, the not important information that if you take them from the sentence wouldn't make any difference, or the ones that are used with relative pronouns or conjunctions, the one that show that two sentences are being connected. So here we're going to find out, and starting with some of them, I will explain some of these commas and the reasons why I put them. Jim Hawkins lives with his mother in an inn. You see that the Admiral Bimbo is put between two commas. Why? Because this is additional information. It's only the name of this inn. It wouldn't make any difference. It's just giving another information. On the south coast of England, in a village called Black Hill Cove. So here it's separating two sentences. After that, you notice that whenever we say one day, first, yesterday, when we put like the adverbs at the beginning of the sentence, we need a comma after them. That's a rule. So an ancient sailor, again, Captain Billy Bones between two commas. Why? Because it's additional information, not something necessary. Turns up there, apparently intending to stay. He hires Jim to keep a watch out for other sailors, but despite all precautions, we put it between two brackets, not but, because this one is like only to interrupt the speech and say despite all precautions. So if it wasn't there, you should have put a comma before but. He is hunted down by Blind Pew and Black Dog and served with the black spot, a symbol that means death. A group of pirates raid the inn in search of the chest containing the old sailor's papers. But, you see, before the conjunction, but, we have to put apostrophe, sorry, a comma, and so on with all the sentences. We would now explain the apostrophe of possession. We already talked about this in Book 7, Global English, but now it's a chance for the ones who didn't understand it. So we use the apostrophe of possession to show that something belongs to someone or something else by putting an apostrophe and s. So we have three cases that we have to deal with. The first one is if the owner is singular, we put the apostrophe before the s. Like what? John's mother. You see, we put it before the s. Why? Because John is singular. That's why. For number two, if the owner is plural, we put the apostrophe after the s. Why? Because we already have s, like this example. The five boys' bags, we didn't put apostrophe s because it would be wrong and hard to pronounce. That's why you should only have the apostrophe after the s because there are five boys. Number three is with irregular plural. If the irregular plural is considered like singular, we put the apostrophe before s. Like what irregular plural? Like child, children, ox, oxen, goose, geese. Many examples we gave, tooth, teeth. So here we have this example. The children's bags. You see, we didn't put it after the S. No, we treated it like singular before S. Finally, there is something that most people wonder about, which is if we have names, some names end with S, like uh, James, like Jones, many names that end with Julius. So you have to, or you have the option here if you want to put another S or not. It's all up to you. It's not considered wrong in any way. So if you say James's car, by the way, the pronunciation will always be James' car, but if you want it as writing, to put S or not to put S simply. So James' car. That is a quick test for you to see if you mastered this subject or not. So you can stop the video and try solving these 10 sentences. Starting with the first one, Samantha borrowed Julius' pencil. You see, here it is an option. You can simply put apostrophe S or just apostrophe in Julius. Number two, Tina, Lucy, Laura, and Pat were playing. Jamie crept up and kicked the girl's ball. So, girls here, where would you put it? Before or after? Of course, after, because we have many girls. We have four. So, girls after the S. It's my birthday today. It's my mom's birthday as well. So, for the first one, you need apostrophe, but this one is for the contraction, as you know. But the important one that we need here is apostrophe of possession in mom's birthday. How many moms does she have? It's only one, so before S. And you can move on with all the sentences in this way. The last thing that is going to be explained in this unit in the course book is following the advices that we had when we write an adventure quest story. So, if you are interested in writing a short story, an adventure quest story, let's see these guidelines and see if we can follow them or not. So, to start first, does your story have a title? As we said, the title is very important to any piece of work, like poems, novels, anything is important with titles. Does the country have a name? You should choose the names for your setting, like Narnia, like any name that you should choose. Have you described the appearances and qualities of your hero and given them names? You should also choose names, and we explained in this week the importance of names in novels. Does at least one of the good characters have a magic property or symbolic object to carry? Usually, these magical things are important in quests. Have you created an evil enemy? An evil enemy is the most important thing that you should create, of course, you know that. Is the objective of the quest clear? Like they are trying to find a treasure, for example, or trying to get back someone who is missing? There should be a clear goal behind your story. Is there a spell, prophecy, or promise? We said these magical things are really um, common in these works. Is there a character who is met on the journey and who helps the hero? We said it, friends are important here. They help, they give information, they advise. Does a decisive contest or battle occur? Battles or these fights are very important. They should happen eventually. And finally, have you said how the hero gets home? Because when you finish the story, you should say that he came back home safely and so on. Since we explained the important things in your course book for Unit 8, we're going to move on to the workbook and have some exercises together, like exercise 5 in page 53. This exercise has some adjectives and we need to change them into adverbs. Remember that we had rules, so how to add the ly in a correct way. To start with the first word, immediate, you simply add ly. Then you have a tricky word, which is fast. Do you remember how do we do it as an adverb? By remaining the same. Helpful, the one that ends with L already, you add ly. Strong, simply adding ly. This one is tricky because I know that you remember we said the words that end with IC, we add ALLY. but this one is an exception. Public, you only add ly. Now we would do the opposite. We have adverbs here, and we're going to change them to adjectives. We're going to take the ly from them. For the first one, it is very tricky because this word is not hard. Hard is already the adverb. This hardly gives a different meaning. So it is, or there is no adjectival form for it. Then you have the word practically. Practically is practical. Carefully, you take the ly, careful. Continuously, continuous. And finally, fifthly, five. As for the last exercise, is exercise 8. Cross out the incorrect apostrophes in these sentences and insert them where they are needed. The book has put intentionally some wrong apostrophes on some s's that you might think they're right, but they're only plural, like starting with this orange, so you have apostrophe on s here, orange. It doesn't make sense because it's only plural. That's why we took it off and we continued to put the apostrophe in the right place. So oranges and lemons were being sold at a reduced price at the green groceries. See, groceries here before the s. Marcus friends, see, we put it with the S here because Marcus' friends, these friends belong to Marcus, arrived at the party's end. It's one party, so before the S. C. My toes hurt because of my 3 weeks of walking in the mountains. Here we only took the apostrophe out. And you can continue the same with all the sentences. Finally, you need to be thanked in all the languages of the world because your dedication is really exceptional. Keep it up and see you next week.